SMPR. I'm Elliot Schimmel. I co-founded SMPR with David Teicher here. We started it about last March, so almost a year old, and it's definitely grown. It started with 15 people in a room. But I'd say we're going to have our panel discussion now. It's going to be about 40 minutes. But if you want to grab a chair from the back, we're going to give everyone 3 or 4 minutes to all run to the back and grab chairs as quickly as possible and bring them forward. Also at the bar, if you want to bring in chairs. I apologize, there's no sound system. That seems to be par for the course.
Sorry, David and I talked about it.
Yeah, so everyone's going to try to be really loud, except for if you're not on the panel. What we're going to have, the panel discussion is, how does your agency deal with social media? When a client says, I want social media, what do you do? And we have 5 panelists here, and who will discuss it. And Leslie from Articulate PR will be
Actually,
moderator.
I'm not from Articulate PR.
I might have drank already.
It's on the right now.
That's right.
I'll take it from here.
I'm sorry. It'll start with 30 minutes of the panel and 10 minutes for Q&A afterwards.
Okay, great. I'm Leslie Campisi. I'm Vice President and Partner at Effect Strategies. We do PR, marketing, and social media. We're here in the city. We're a small agency. We specialize in tech. That's all I'm going to tell you about me, because all I want to do tonight is grill these guys. To my right, I have Keith Trivit, Account Executive at RLMPR. Any friends of Keith in the house?
See a few guys.
To his right, I have...
No.
I'm sorry?
We can't hear you. Is there a microphone?
You have to be quiet.
There's no sound system.
Come closer, please.
To Keith's right is David Teicher, who's Social Media Manager at McCann Erickson in New York. And I know we have a lot of friends of David here. Next up we have Danielle Mancano, who's an Account Manager at Shift Communications. Yay. Danielle's actually based in Boston, but you guys just opened an office here in New York, so
We did
congratulations.
last Thursday, so brand new to the neighborhood. Awesome.
And then we have Alex Payne, who's Digital Media Coordinator at MWW Group. Thanks for being here. And finally, we have Allison Martin, who's an Assistant Account Executive at the Zeno Group. Thank you. So, I guess the way Elliot set up this conversation right before he left and handed it over to me is, okay, a client says, I want social media. What happens next? David, you said something, and I'll repeat it. You said, I'm going to tell them that there's no such thing as social media. I like that. Tell me more.
Well, just in my experience, that there's a lot of, the first part of social media before you get into strategies or anything like that is kind of managing client expectations, and a lot of clients don't necessarily have accurate perceptions of what to expect and what they can gain and what they can't. Their objectives for what they can gain out of social media might be very different than their core brand objectives. So what I try to do is slow them down and step back a little bit and be okay, what do you want to accomplish? And learn a little bit about how they're marketing in other channels, and then say, okay, how can we, what's the analogous, what's the parallel in social media to how do we bring that conversation and make people, and have people talk about it, and what platform is right for you, and once you determine the platform or platforms, then you can get into social media strategies and how should we act on this platform. But it's really about taking a step back and not just being because a lot of them are afraid their competitors are on social media, they're on Twitter, and they're making money, they're on Facebook, and they have 1 million fans, and they're very gung-ho, and let's jump, and let's do this, and they don't want to wait, they don't want to do it patiently, and it's about taking a step back and saying...
It's a very good point. It's a very good point. It's very true that, I think something we've noticed over the past maybe 3 to 4 months now is that people are finally starting to realize, as Twitter is starting to level off a little bit and slow down, things of that nature, is that yes, social media is one form of many different forms of communication, and it does take time like any other form of communication should do. You know, anything with PR, marketing, and advertising, it is going to take some time, and that's a difficult thing sometimes to explain to clients, to explain to people, is that, you know, this is not going to be a cure-all for everything. It's not going to be a magic pill that you're going to swallow and tomorrow you're going to be, you know, next Procter & Gamble. It's not going to work that way. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of time, and if we do it right and we set things up, like David said, in the right way, we slow things down just a little bit to understand what are our objectives and our goals here, rather than, oh God, I got to get on this right now. I got to get on Flickr. I got to get, you know, 1,000 people downloading my images, whatever it is. That's great, but what's it going to do? You know, we got to slow it down just a little bit and realize that this is going to take a few months. But then things, if we do it right, we'll start to, you know, build upon each other, and we will start to see some momentum out of that. And that's where really things can get exciting for us.
I see you guys nodding over there too. Are client expectations a big problem for you as well?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. Like, one of the dirtiest words I hear in my office nowadays is the word viral. And I hate it. I hate it. I always have, and it doesn't matter the size of the client or they want to be involved in social media, but they always seem to relate it back to that viral buzz that got around that Coke, you know, face profile launch or that. Everyone knows that one, I guess, and then, or the, you know, that incredible YouTube video, and that's when I usually know, all right, let's take a full step back and not only realize, you know, here are exactly what these platforms are and why they differ, and then specifically, let's go and let's try to find let's listen a little bit. Before we ever even talk about a platform or why you should be on anything, let's see what other people are talking about you, and if that's a place that's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, then you can start talking about, well, here's why Facebook is different than Twitter. Or here's why you might want to be on Flickr and YouTube, but you might not want to be on a Vimeo or something.
That's really interesting. I like the idea of, instead of saying, hey, we're going to push something out, of taking the time to figure out where the conversations are already happening.
Yeah.
Can anyone talk a little bit more to that?
I can. I like to think of it when you're first describing social media, because right now budgets are cut all across the board, and your clients are saying, well, we just cut our advertising, we were thinking social media, but we don't know what that means, so go. So I like to think of it as like, okay, you're invited to like a neighborhood block party. So some people are wallflowers and they don't interact, they just stay back, they're just there and not sure and a little hesitant on who they're talking to, they're not engaged in any sort of conversation. And then there's the blowhard who, it's a vegetarian block party and they bring ribs and they're like, we don't care, this is our message, this is what we're bringing, who cares? So if you're listening first, then you know it's a vegetarian party, you bring a nice fruit salad or you know, some veggie burgers, and you understand your audience, who you're interacting with, and what you're supposed to bring to the party. And you tapped on something key there, it's all by listening. It's okay to be a wallflower at first, but if you're just going to listen forever, then why are you on Twitter? What's the point? You're just there, taking up air, and your competitors are just passing you by. So I think listening is a great step one at this block party, but after you're taking in that information, you have to give them something valuable in return, because I really feel social media is synonymous with community. If you're not fostering that community, if you're not giving something valuable back, then what's the point in doing it?